This is Lunar Owl ASMR, and I came across my old video games while unpacking boxes, and I thought this would be a fun video to do. Talk about the old games and some of the new games, what I liked, what I didn't like, and see if you guys have played any of these games, or maybe you've played different games but have memories attached to them that you'd like to share. I'd love to hear in the comments what you guys enjoyed playing as a kid or even now. Like, what is your favorite new game and what is your favorite old game? With my first job, I bought the PS4, and I also bought the 3DS, which I forgot I owned until recently, which is kind of sad considering it was one of the first things I had bought. It's been a while, I guess. But growing up, I was gifted a PS2 console from a friend, and I was able to play all of these games on it, which were my favorites. He actually got me into video games when it came to JRPGs, and he actually had gotten me into Final Fantasy games. The very first Final Fantasy game I had ever seen was Final Fantasy II, I believe. I'd go over to his house and he'd be playing it on the PS1, and I just found it amazing. I had never seen anything like it, so I completely owe my love of Final Fantasy games to him. For shooters, games like Overwatch or Destiny, things like that, I have to give it to a friend from my childhood. She's the one that got me into those, and the very first shooter I ever played, I think it was a 007 game. I remember the characters, like the bad guys in suits, around the corner shooting at you, and you had to shoot them. Maybe it wasn't a shooter, but that's what I remember of it as a kid. I've never played Nintendo games, really, like the original ones, like Zelda, but that's a series that I would really like to try. I have another friend, and that's his world. He absolutely loves the Zelda games, and he rants and raves about them all the time, so it really makes me want to play them. So 3DS games, I have Pokemon and Fire Emblem. These are probably the only games that I've ever really played on the DS. Game Boy Advance, I have this Kirby game, and this was my world. I loved this game so much, and this actually belonged to my aunt. I had to stay with my aunt for a while. I can't remember how long it was, but when I was staying with her, she had a basket full of Game Boy games and Game Boy Advance games, and she had like 4 different Game Boy consoles, I guess you would call them, handhelds. And this is the game that I played all the time as a kid. I loved it so much that she actually let me have it. As for my mother, her favorite game was Tetris. She played this when she'd get home from work. I remember her sitting in the living room in her big comfy chair, and she'd play this or Duck Hunt, and I just loved watching her play. Interesting fact, I've actually never played Tetris. I've played Tricky Towers, but never Tetris. I have, let's see, Final Fantasy X and X-2, the remaster. I loved the original game of that. I would play it over and over and over. I just really loved the cutscenes, the story, the characters, the music. Oh, the music is lovely in this game. Not the remaster, the original. The remaster, they messed the soundtrack up, and that's why I own it. Nobuo is just amazing with his classical music that he does, and I don't think they should ever change it, really. I also have Final Fantasy VII, Final Fantasy VIII, and Final Fantasy IX. I have Final Fantasy 15 over here, but the only thing I really like about it is that it's a Final Fantasy title. The game itself was very, very lacking. This is the deluxe version where it comes with the Kingsglaive movie. I did enjoy that movie. I actually liked Nyx more than Noctis. I will admit that. I think Nyx would have made a much better main character. That's one thing that's kind of common in the Final Fantasy games that I've noticed, at least with a lot of the newer ones. Final Fantasy main characters are painfully serious. You either love them or you hate them. But I feel like they just lack character when you do that. And I think that's one of the reasons I just didn't like Noctis as much, because he reminded me of Lightning, and I did like Lightning. It's just she was painfully dull at times. I think that's probably why Titus, even though there's a lot of people that dislike Titus, I can appreciate his energy. Zidane is also a mischievous character. I do like Cloud and Squall, but I think the accompanying characters that surround them help with their character being the way they are. As for Kingdom Hearts, let's move this. Kingdom Hearts, I have Kingdom Hearts 3 here, but I've had collected all of the Kingdom Hearts games over the years. One thing I have to gripe about with Kingdom Hearts games is every time they make one, or almost every time they make one, they port it onto a different console. And Kingdom Hearts 3, they put a big main story plot onto the cell phone game, which not a lot of people played the cell phone game, or if they had, it wasn't like throughout the whole entire progression. And so people that hadn't played all the way or people that hadn't even played the game lost a lot of context, and they would have to go and look it up to see who these characters are or what is happening in the story, which I really hope they come out with a console game, putting all that story into one place, or maybe like you can play as the characters in the console game. I don't know how they would do it, but I think it needs to be done for the people that are just completely lost in the world. I also really like that Kingdom Hearts has Disney characters. It has been a childhood favorite of mine. I played that game over and over and over. I'm just thinking about how many days, how many months, hours I've played some of these games, and it brings back a lot of happy memories. I have some games that aren't here. I guess I've either traded them or sold them, but they just were also lovely games. Just remembering them and getting a smile on my face, like games like Dissidia or Disgaea. Both of those were fun games. Disgaea has a very unique play style, which I love the strategy of that. I also love Star Ocean and the Tales series. I really like RPGs. And I love games where you can craft items as well. I've always found crafting items in games just really fun, like going out, collecting the materials, coming back, and I guess sometimes it can be RNG related. So Star Ocean Till the End of Time was a huge favorite of mine. I loved that game. I really want to get the remake of that, or them doing just a complete overhaul of it. As long as they stay with the story, I am perfectly fine, but I'd love to see that in updated graphics. I'd love to see Final Fantasy VIII with updated graphics like Final Fantasy VII Remake. That would be very pretty, especially when you go to space. Let's see. So this Yu-Gi-Oh game, I probably played 30 times, maybe more. I liked that you could choose which side you were on. This is Yu-Gi-Oh! Duelist of the Roses, and you could choose to be on Seto's side or Yugi's side. I chose majority of the time Yugi's side, and a few times Seto's side just because I wanted to fight Yugi. But I adored fighting against Maximilian Pegasus, Yugi boy. He's just a hoot, and I loved his toon monsters. Let's see. I never finished this game. This is Pokemon Black, but when I was checking out like my gameplay of it, I felt ashamed. As a kid, there used to be a I don't know if it's still up and running, I didn't check, but there was some kind of Pokemon site where you could pretty much transfer shiny Pokemon or like hard to get Pokemon legendaries into your game. I had a lot. I had a lot of them, and I didn't feel right about it after looking at the game, so I deleted my save data, and I'm wanting to try and do it again, but this time legitly. kid me thought all those shinies and legendaries were so cool. Fire Emblem Awakening and Fire Emblem Fate's Birthright. I love, this is a silly reason to like the game, but I love that you can actually romance the characters. And I like that you can set them up with other characters. I had never seen a game where you could do that with the characters. And I thought that was another level to strategy where I found it really interesting. I love the Fire Emblem games because there's so much strategy that you have to do with them. Like what classes you make the parents or who you have them romance makes up a big deal on what their offspring is going to be like in the future. And I like that you can also do the same things with the kids later on. Let's see, did I have anything else? Oh, yes, I do. It is this game. And this is Code Vein, which is a Bloodborne anime. Anime Bloodborne. Or Dark Souls anime. It was actually a very fun game. The character creation is very amazing. I made some anime characters to run around as and fight things. I made Shishomaru from Inuyasha with his big ploofy feather boa. Well, it's not a feather boa, it's his tail, but his big poofy thing. And it's obnoxious. It's just flying everywhere. And I'm going to start the triggers now. And the first one is going to be my PlayStation controller. So I had to get a new controller because my old controllers were definitely beat up and broken. The little joysticks, they were completely gone. The color symbols on the buttons were completely worn off. And some of the buttons were even broke. A lot of love went into playing some of these games, many hours. And I will stop talking now so you can actually hear the controller. So I decided to put my mic down. You can see it here. I put it down here because I wanted to get the sounds of the controller better. I don't know if it'll pick it up better, but I'm hoping it will sound closer. My next trigger is actually this little Gameboy game, Kirby Dreamland 2. Love this little thing. Now for this one, and I really like the ridges here, so I'm going to be playing with these. So guys, that was my video game ASMR video, and if you guys had stayed to the end, I just wanted to give out some codes. I don't know if these codes actually still work, but if they do, and if you guys play the Pokemon TCG online, I thought it'd just be a nice way to give my thanks to you guys. So I have 3 codes, and the first one is MTYHXRTK4BJXK. The second code is MJV, BG7B, T4VX9J. And the final code, MVKRRGN, I really hope these work for the people that get them. And I just wanted to say thank you again. I am almost at 250 subscribers. It was amazing. I was at 50, then 100, and it's already gotten to 200 and almost 250. I want to thank all of you. You all are wonderful, and I love interacting with all of you as well. These videos, I enjoy making them for you guys. I'm not always the fastest to get them out to you guys, and I feel bad about that. I have made a Instagram because I wanted to try and connect and be a little closer with all of you. So if you look me up, I am lunaraowl.asmr in all capitals. On Instagram, I haven't posted much. There's only one photo, and it's of the cherry blossoms. But I look forward to adding more on there. I planned on adding like photos of Luca, my puppy. Well, I guess she's not really a puppy anymore. She's technically a year old. And like anime things or Yu-Gi-Oh things, maybe things throughout the day that I think you guys might find interesting. And it's also an easier way to talk with you guys, or maybe do a poll and see what you'd like content-wise. Once again, thank you all. I love you guys. Have a wonderful night, my little night owls, and sleep well until the next time.